This is our 2024 Dream Bike. Hi, I'm Keith Dowdle with Cycle News Magazine, and this is our 2024 Dream Bike. This bike started as a KTM, well, I shouldn't say started, I guess it still is a KTM rally, which is, you know, every few years KTM decides they're going to do special edition bikes. They've done, I think, 2 or 3 different times now. They've done it with various models. This particular bike is a KTM 890R Rally. They made 700 of them globally. There's 100 of them available in the US, and we were lucky enough to get one of them, and we decided if we've got one, why not just put all the trickiest parts that we can find on it and make it a dream bike. And so that's what we've done. We reached out to various sponsors, mainly Rottweiler Performance, because when it comes to the 890 engine, those guys are just the masters. They know these motors, they race these motors, and have been racing these motors for years, so they understand how they work. We kind of ran into just a little bit of a glitch with this bike because for 2024, KTM decided to change the ECU and add an extra O2 sensor. Kind of put things on hold for a minute while we figured it out, or while the guys at Rottweiler figured it out anyway. But they did, and they've got it all sorted, and now we have got what is just a fantastic motorcycle. We'll start at the front and work our way back. First of all, I guess what makes a Rally different than a regular 890R? Well, primarily it's the suspension. It comes with WP Explorer Pro suspension, which for the front means that you've got cone valve technology, which is basically like works suspension. It is the best of the best, and it is infinitely tunable. So it has adjustments for spring preload, rebound dampening, compression dampening. It has a bleeder valve on top of the forks, and they are just phenomenal forks. The rear suspension, again, Explorer Pro, and it has these little dials here are kind of what give it away, because that's high-speed compression dampening and low-speed compression dampening. And of course, it also has rebound dampening and spring preload. So that's the main reason you buy a Rally over a regular 890R. What's the difference in price? It's about $6,000. So it's a step up for sure. But if you were to buy just the suspension alone for a regular 890, if you wanted to put this suspension on it, it would cost you about $6,000. So that's kind of what you're paying for. But in addition to that, other things that make it a Rally are the wheels. It's got Dirt Star, DID Dirt Star wheels. The rims are narrower than a regular 890 wheel. That gives you the option of running a vast number of dirt bike specific tires. They're also tube rims, right? Whereas the regular 890 has tubeless. These, you got to have a tube, because if you're running serious dirt bike stuff, you're either going to be running a moose or you're going to be running a tube with really low pressure. So having that narrower rim clinches down on the tire better and gives you the option of running lower pressures. And because it is narrower, it gives you, opens up the whole realm of basically every 21, 18 dirt bike tire on the market can fit on this bike. Whereas for the regular 890, you can't do that. So that's another thing that you get with the Rally. I don't have it facing the right way right now, but it comes with a very pretty Akrapovic pipe. Call me out if I say it wrong. Nobody knows how to say the name, right? But it's beautiful. It's a slip-on exhaust, Akrapovic, however you want to say it. It's gorgeous, looks cool. And we did some things to tune that pipe to make it work even better. So that's another part of the Rally thing that you get when you buy a Rally. You also get the foot pegs, which are the KTM Power Parts foot pegs. That comes as part of the Rally package. But that's pretty much it. That's what you get with the Rally itself. So now let's talk about what else we added to it. And we added a lot of stuff from a lot of cool sponsors. And we didn't just go after any old sponsors. We went after the very best of the best. We wanted to build this bike. If it's already got the best suspension money can buy on it, why not put the best of everything else that money can buy on it? And that's what we did. And we'll start with the tires. So our friends at Dunlop sent us these are called, the rear is a Rally Raid D908. It's a great tire. It's a street legal tire, so you could run it on your regular 890. The front is a D606. And I'm a big believer in Dunlop. They've supported me personally for years, and I just love Dunlop tires. So they were our first call. Got some fresh meat on there so that we can really grab the dirt and go. So that was cool. The next thing we got on here, as you'll see, is this beautiful rally tower. That's made by a company called Rebel X Sports. And you can see the tower alone really changes the look of the motorcycle. It really, it makes it look like a rally bike. It makes it look like a race bike. It's the same kind of rally fairing. The windscreen and everything is exactly what the factory KTM guys run. So kind of trick to have that on there. But the main reason we did it is because it gives you a lot more options for putting nav equipment up here. Okay, so you can have tablets, you can have, we elected to go with the TrailTech Voyager Pro, just because, again, we want the best of the best. And the TrailTech Voyager Pro for off-road dirt bike riding, it's the best. Has buddy tracking on it. You can track up to 20 of your closest buddies when you're out on a ride. If somebody goes down or if somebody stopped, you can see exactly where they're at. If you're out in Moab or someplace like that, hopefully they don't go over the side of the cliff, but if they do, you'll know where to find them because it's going to show up on the GPS. So it's kind of a neat feature. We also put up here a quad lock. So this is the one that's got the anti-vibration. It's got wireless charging. We put that up there, but this tower is set up so that you could put any number of things on it. You can literally configure it to however you want. You see how many holes are in the side of it here? That's all so that you can mount various different things. The other cool part of it is everything is powered from up here. So you don't have to run wires all the way back to the battery and all that sort of stuff. All the power comes from this one fuse box. And the cool thing about this fuse box is if you blow a fuse, you're in the middle of a race or something, there's a light that comes on, an LED light, that tells you this is the fuse that's blown. So you don't have to be pulling out every single fuse and trying to figure it out. It tells you which one is out so you can quickly replace it, be back on the road again. We love the fairing. It really gives the bike a cool look. Another thing that it allows us to do is there's a neat spot here for this little red bag, this little red bag is a first aid kit. And this particular first aid kit comes from the Kurt Caselli Foundation. Kurt Caselli was a great guy, unfortunately lost his life in a Baja 1000 race years ago. But Kurt was just a fantastic human being. They have a charity now that supports off-road riders that are injured. They do research for better safety equipment. They also have a scholarship program. So you can go to Kurt Caselli Foundation, you can buy cool stuff, and it all contributes to their charity. Or you can just stroke them a check. Either way, it's a charity that's definitely worth giving to. And they make some of the best first aid kits. And if you buy one of the first aid kits, you're giving to the charity. And if you've got a Rebel X Rally, you got a cool place to put it. We'll work our way back from there and talk about the next really trick part, and that is the triple clamps. You see here, these are billet Rottweiler triple clamps. The reason we did this is because the bearings in the head tube on these KTM, even if it's a rally, KTM 890s, all of them are the same way. They're basically oversized bicycle parts. They're just not really what should be in the head tube of a motorcycle that's going to take this much abuse. So when you replace your triple clamp with this Rottweiler triple clamp, not only does it look cool, but you also get a tapered bearing. Okay, you can opt for the tapered bearing. And that tapered bearing is really, every motocross bike, every road racing bike, they all have tapered bearings just because they're smoother, they're stronger, they're just better all the way around. So that's the reason we went with the Rottweiler triple clamp. The other nice thing about this triple clamp is that it already has a spot for the Scott's steering dampener. The Scott steering dampener, it's the reference for steering dampeners for off-road riders. If you look at any rally bike, any desert racing bike, any off-road racing bike of any kind, you will find a Scott steering dampener on it. There's a reason for that. They're completely rebuildable. They are infinitely adjustable, and the damping keeps the bars in the middle, whereas other steering dampeners, the steering dampener that came on this bike, when it's up on the stand, it forces the handlebars to one direction, okay? And it's not in the middle. So the Scott's damper keeps the bars in the middle. So it's damped on both sides so that the bars stay in the middle. And you can control that just with a twist of your finger to make it stiffer or softer, whatever you want to do. Again, it's completely rebuildable. So if you buy a Scott steering dampener, you can keep the thing for the rest of your life and just transfer it from bike to bike to bike, keep rebuilding it. It'll last you forever. They are incredible pieces of engineering. Another thing that we did while we're kind of on the, well, let's don't forget about while we're up here, the double take mirrors, the obligatory double take mirror, right? If you've got an adventure bike, you got to have double take mirrors. We opted for the dual sport version. They're a little smaller than the regular ADV versions, but we like that because we don't need a great giant mirror anyway. These things, you can take them off in about 2 seconds. You don't need tools or anything. Stick them in your backpack, they're out of the way. If you're running a GoPro or whatever other kind of electronics you want to run, you've got a ball mount there to put it on. Yeah, double take mirrors. They're another must-have if you're building a bike like this. Vanash Motorsports, we changed this out just because after we built this whole bike and we looked at it, we said, man, that fuel cap is just ugly. So we took it off and put a Vanash Motorsports. It's just for looks, but it's nice because you don't have to fiddle with the key and all that. It's just cool, right? So we put that on there. Another thing let's talk about, which lives right under here, and one of the things I should do is I should go ahead and take the seat off because I got some other trick stuff under this seat that I want to show you. So we'll pop off our beautiful Seat Concepts seat. We went the Seat Concepts seat because one, they're the best seats. They come with the pan already. You don't have to send your stock pan in. The seat comes just like this. It's ready to go. If you've never sat on a Seat Concept seat, you owe it to your butt to try one because they're fantastic. It also, for this bike, it makes it a little bit lower because this bike comes with a rally seat on it, a KTM Power Parts rally seat, and the thing is just incredibly tall. So this also helps to lower it down. Seat Concepts makes all types of different heights of seats, and they've guaranteed they've got a seat for your bike, and they can make you a seat that's short or tall or whatever you want. So check them out, Seat Concepts. But what I wanted to show you that's underneath the seat here is, one, the battery. You know, batteries are not sexy. Batteries are not, you know, they're not the coolest thing. If you want to save weight on your motorcycle, you know, guys spend a fortune to save weight on their motorcycle, and they do all kinds of oddball stuff. That right there is the best, quickest way to save weight on any motorcycle, is to buy an anti-gravity lithium battery, 70% lighter than your stock battery. As a matter of fact, when you take this lithium battery out of the box, you think it's a joke because it's so light, you can't even imagine that it's actually real. That's how light it is. It's just featherweight. And if you look where it's at on the top of the bike here, that's a lot of weight up high. So changing that battery out makes a huge difference. It's a much better battery. It'll last you a lot longer, gives you more power, and saves a ton of weight. Anti-gravity batteries, they're awesome. And you also see what else is under here, which is the stock air box is completely gone. This is called a Rottweiler Pro intake system. It changes the filter, so now it is a foam filter that you can service quickly and easily. It gives the bike 10 more horsepower just by adding this piece. You don't have to change mapping and all that sort of stuff. You can if you want to. The guys at Rottweiler have tons of different maps using a dyno jet, power commanders. You can go absolutely nuts if you want to. On this particular bike, we just added the Pro intake system, gives us 10 more horsepower, gives the bike a real throaty sound. So I like that. It's kind of cool. The other thing you see back here is unique. It is what they call an enduro cell, and it is a fuel tank. So the guys at Rottweiler Performance thought that, hey, you know, this is kind of a waste of space back here. Once you get rid of your stock airbox, all this other stuff, it's really nothing. It's just plastic back here, wasted space. So this is 1.8 gallons of fuel, additional fuel. So these bikes out of the box will go they'll go a couple of 100 miles on a tank of gas. You're adding almost another 100 miles with 1.8 gallons of fuel back here. Doesn't require any more fuel pumps, doesn't require any more electrics, doesn't require anything other than just to install this and run the lines. It's got its own petcock here. So the cool thing about it is you can either run it as part of your regular fuel system and it flows with your tank and everything. So your fuel gauge is always accurate. Nothing changes there. And the other thing you can do, if you don't want to run it like that, you can run it just as an emergency reserve tank if you wanted to. You close the petcock, run it as emergency reserve, and you know you've always got 2 gallons of gas if you're out in the desert somewhere and you know you're running low on gas. You reach down there, turn it on. You got another, 90 to 100 miles or so that you can go on that tank of fuel. So that's called an enduro cell, and it's made by Rottweiler Performance. Another Rottweiler Performance part here is this trans saver. So the trans saver basically is like a shock absorber. You can see how it does there. So your transmission has forks in it that move delicate pieces inside your transmission. And if you come down off a jump or hit this shifter too hard and the bike is in the wrong gear, or you're already in first gear and it has no place to go, you can break something pretty easy. So it's just insurance so that you make sure you don't break something inside your transmission. And it looks cool, right? So yeah, we added that. I'll tell you, the guys at Rottweiler Performance really stepped up on this project. And we want to thank them immensely for all the work they did with us to build this, help us build this bike, get this bike the way we want it. Those guys, without them, we couldn't have done this. All these parts got here. They're in California, of course. All these parts got here within a couple of days. So fantastic customer service from the guys at Rottweiler. Chris and his guys over there just helped us out immensely on this bike. So we want to thank them. And I want to make sure I've talked about all the sponsors here. AXP skid plates. So AXP Racing, this is their latest version of this particular skid plate. They have made these skid plates for the 890 for many years, but they've upgraded it. This one comes back a little further. This one is called the Enduro, the Hard Enduro. It's the one that doesn't require a center stand. If you don't have a center stand, this is the one you want to get. Of course, we're not going to put a center stand on this bike. This bike is going to be railed off-road. We don't want a center stand falling down, so we opted for the one that goes all the way back. And then it's got a little bit more protection in the front as well. It comes up a little bit higher than the I guess the version 1 did. So super cool part, and we're happy that those guys stepped up and helped us out with this build as well. The 2024 Cycle News Dream Bike, we're super pleased with how it turned out. It's absolutely gorgeous. Hey, what makes it gorgeous is these guys right here, SKDA. We weren't sure if we were going to put graphics on this bike because the Rally comes with its own graphics package. And at first we were like, do we want to cover that up? Because there's only 100 of them in the whole country that look like this. So we wrestled with that. And then we thought, nah, we want to make sure that we give our sponsors and everybody that helps us, a lot of credit. This bike is going to go to shows and events and you're going to see it at different places. So we wanted to make sure all of our sponsors got recognition, of course. So we reached out to SKDA, and the very first take, this is what they did. Oh, that was one take, and that's how it looked. And they can do the same thing for you if you want to do a custom graphics kit. I was worried because I had to put all this stuff on. I've never put graphics like this on before, so I didn't know if I'd be able to get them on, but they go on really easy. The way they're cut, a little bit of heat, you know, like from a blow dryer, hair dryer, something like that. Yeah, I was pleased with how well it came out, and it tops it off, doesn't it? It makes the bike just pop. And tell us what you think. We're going to do a full review of this bike in Cycle News. It'll be both in the magazine and online. We're going to do lots of social media on this bike too, so you're going to see it around if you haven't already. So yeah, we're super pumped about this bike, and just kind of trying to give you an idea of what you can do if you've got an 890 Rally. You dream your dream, and let us see how yours turns out.